my supercalifragilisticexpialidocious students. This is Mrs. Rodriguez, and we are going to do weeks 32 warm-up review for Monday's review, okay? So remember, this was yesterday's review, and we're going to solve these problems together to see how you did. All right, Paul had a summer job, or a job during the summer, sorry. He earned $8.75 per hour. He worked 20 hours per week for 8 weeks. How much money did Paul earn? Okay, so it's a two-step problem, and I see that $8.75 per hour. So that means I know that I'm going to multiply that times 20 hours. And then when I'm done, I'm going to multiply it again times 8. Okay? So first I've got $8.75, and notice that I'm doing this by hand. This problem would definitely be a calculator inactive problem, because remember, we learned to multiply decimals and divide decimals in 6th grade, so they're going to test to see if you can do that without a calculator. So you need to be practicing these problems all week without a calculator, so that when you take the EOG, you will be prepared to answer questions without a calculator. Okay, so I have a 0 in the ones place, so I just put a 0 to hold my place. Now I do 2 times 5 is 10, carry 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, carry 1. And 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Now remember, I need to count how many numbers are behind a decimal. And I see 2 numbers are behind the decimal, so I move my decimal from here to here. Now I have $175. Now I have to remember to do the second part, $175 times 8, right? Okay, so 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 5 is 40, carry the 4, 8 times 7 is 56, plus 4 is 60, and then 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14. And once again, I have to remember to check my decimals. So I have 2 numbers behind the decimal, so I will put my decimal here. So my answer is really $1,400, but I don't use the $ when I put this into Canvas. So make sure you just go ahead and put 1,400, or you can do it this way, or you can do it this way. That will work too, okay? All right, number 2, simplify the expression. And hopefully at this point you see this and you know, in order to simplify, you basically just have to distribute, right? We give the 5 to both terms, okay? So 5 times 5x is 25x. Keep that minus sign, and then 5 times 2y is 10y. All right, that was easy. All right, my next problem is 5 squared minus 10 divided by 5 times 2 to the third. Okay? So order of operations. Again, this is another problem. So far, all of these problems are problems that would be on the calculator inactive. And this is another one. There would be no calculator allowed on this problem, because they're checking to see if you understand how to do order of operations. So I do, I'm going to rewrite it up here so that I have a little bit more room. 5 squared minus 10 divided by 5 times 2 to the third, okay? So I'm going to work in my parentheses first. And the first thing I'm going to take care of is that exponent, because exponents definitely come before subtraction. So 5 squared is the same thing as saying 5 times 5. So that becomes 25. Now I can do my subtraction. 25 minus 10 is 15. Now, I don't need those parentheses anymore. If you carry them down, it's not a big deal, but I don't need them anymore, so I'm not going to put them there. Okay, and now this is what I'm left with. All right, so now I look at my problem and I say, okay, I did parentheses. What comes next? Exponents. So I've got 2 to the third power, or 2 cubed. 2 to the third means 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So I know this is an 8, and I bring the rest down. All right, order of operations now says I should do multiplication or division from left to right. And from left to right, I have division first. So 15 divided by 5, that's going to give me 3, and bring the rest down. And then 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. So that is my answer for number 3. All right, remember, practice these without using a calculator. Really, really important. Okay, my next problem is, what is the value of x when 1/3 x equals 9 1/3? Okay, so when we look over here on this side, we can see that this is a fraction. And when you say 1/3 x, you are multiplying it times when you say you are multiplying 1/3 times x, but you can also use division to figure this out. So we're not gonna, okay, I'm trying to say this correctly. So we have 1/3 x, and in order to get rid of multiplication, we divide, right? But we don't divide by fractions. What we do is we multiply by its reciprocal, right? Because we do keep, change, flip. So for instance, we would do 1/3 divided by 1/3. We can't do that. We keep, change, flip, right? So we keep this, then we change to multiplication, and we flip it to 3/1. And so instead of doing all that, you can just remember we multiply by the reciprocal. So we flip the fraction. So we multiply it times 1. And if we do it on, times 3. Because 3/1 is the same thing as saying 3. And if we do it on the left, then we do it on the right. So we're going to do it on this side too. Okay? All right, so I'm multiplying this, and I see this cancels this, and this cancels this, so it's really all just 1. So it's x. And then on this side, I remember I'm multiplying this whole thing, 9 1/3 times 3. So 3 times 9 is 27. Now I can do the fraction. When I do the fraction, 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3. But now, look what I have here. I have 3/3. What's the other way to write that? 1, right? So really my answer is 28. So remember, you do need to know how to do this, just doing it by hand, not with a calculator. Okay, a triangle has a base of 9 and a height of 3.4. What is the area? So area equals something units. You're going to look for just the number. I don't want you to put units squared in it, okay? All right, remember, first thing you do, write down your area formula. Area equals base times height divided by 2. Now you fill in what you know. Area equals base 9 times 3.4 divided by 2. All right, next step. Remember, when we're working with a fraction, we do everything on the top first. So 9 times 3.4. I'm not a math whiz, so I have to come over to the side and do it by hand. 9 times 4 is 36. I carry the 3. 9 times 3 is 27, plus the 3 is 30. Then I have to remember to account for my decimal. How many numbers are behind the decimal? 1. So my answer on the top is 30.6. And now it's divided by 2. And now I simply just divide by 2. 2 goes into 30 15 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So my answer is 15.3 units squared. Remember, you're just going to type in 15.3. All right, that's your warm-up review for week 32. Remember, by Friday, you should have these down so well that you get 100 on your quiz. Have a good week, guys.